Okay. Well, today is going to be wonderful. The Suzanne, the images you sent me are just amazing. Jill,
Oh,
you're going to love what you're going to see. So I have to,
oh, I don't know.
oh, it's great. And Jill has a surprise too that I think
Do
you'll
I?
enjoy, Suzanne. Yeah, you
Do
do.
I? Well, I
Yeah,
don't.
the Christmas cards you were making.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. So
Okay,
we'll
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
take a look at those when we're looking at the
Probably when we've looked at Suzanne's things.
right.
Mine,
Well,
I won't want.
I put it at the tail end of that slideshow. Um, and we're going to look at Barbara Rae, but Jill, you asked to talk about 7, 8, and 9, pages 7, 8, and 9 in in the book. And I'm imagining you're talking about this book.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Suzanne,
Okay.
have you got the book? Did you get it?
Yes, I got the Kindle version. I couldn't find it in the bookstore in town, and so I thought maybe I buy the Kindle version.
Jill, would you like to read the passages that you wanted to talk about?
Right, it's only that I thought I didn't know if we were going to be looking at this book tonight, and so I thought a lot seems to have happened since last week. I don't know. Oh, and so I thought I'm going to reread some of the beginning again because whether it's my brain isn't retaining things, I don't know, or whether this is just so packed full of information. And when I read this bit about tuning in, I suppose it's it's the sort of second chapter, I suppose. And it was about rhythms and there being a time for
Yes.
everything, which sort of is very pertinent with something that Chris and I are doing a course with a lady called Kate Southworth, and we're looking at the calendrical year. And she's talking about this time of darkness as the nights get shorter. It's a time of sort of fallowness and hunkering down and thinking, really. And so this seemed appropriate, this idea of rhythm. And then the book went on to talk about ideas. We discussed this last week, that if ideas aren't acted upon, they go somewhere else until they find somebody that's in tune with them, who
Yes.
brings them to reality, which is a lovely idea. And then I turned the page and it is all about that it says here, we are all antennae for creative thought. Some transmissions come on strong, others more faint. If your antennae isn't sensitively tuned, you're likely to lose the data in the noise. And I just think that's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
That there's so much going on that you can one minute think you've tuned into something and the next it's just gone because you rush on or the world rushes on. Particularly since the signals coming through are often more subtle than the content we collect through sensory awareness. They are energetic more than tactile, intuitively perceived more than consciously recorded. And again, I think that's important. Intuitively perceived. This business that you pick up things and you don't really realize that you have, or you are just intuitively aware of them or not even aware of them and not consciously recording them. Then it goes on, most of the time we're gathering data from the world through the 5 senses. With the information that's being transmitted on higher frequencies, we are channeling energetic material that can't be physically grasped. It defies logic in the same way that an electron can be in 2 places at once. This elusive energy is of great worth, though so few people are open enough to hold it. Okay, so
I love that part.
so more than just using your 5 senses, because don't we think about that we're getting everything that comes into us through sight and sound and smell and hearing and everything else. But I think what he's getting at is that there's a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of energies that are coming to us far more deeply, perhaps, but that you have to be open to grasp hold of it. How do we pick up on a signal that can neither be heard nor be defined? The answer is not to look for it, nor do we attempt to predict or analyze our way into it. Instead, we create an open space that allows it, a space so free of the normal overpacked condition of our minds that it functions as a vacuum, drawing down the idea that the universe is making available. This freedom is not as difficult to achieve as one might think. We all start with it. As children, we experience much less interference between receiving ideas and internalizing them. We accept new information with delight instead of making comparisons to what we already believe. We live in the moment rather than worrying about future consequences. We are spontaneous more than analytical. We are curious, not jaded. And I think that was it, really. It was that we're so aware, and probably sometimes as artists, we're so keen to be collecting information through our various senses, or being in nature, or being wherever we are. And we're so keen to do it, but it's so elusive, you know? Yeah. And that idea of making space for it and accepting things just as they are, rather than trying to conceptualize them, you know, and fit them into our conceptual framework that we have in our mind, and trying to make sense of them. What I think he's saying is a child just is there, and you know, their first snowflake that they see, the first snow they see, is the first snow they see and experience, and they don't think about it other than it being an experience, and they're open to it. So I think my question is, how do we keep that space inside ourselves, and that vacuum that will draw in all these energies and experiences, without starting to analyze them and make sense of them? Because I think his whole premise is that actually, if you just you just come to them and you don't start to analyze them. Later on, he talks about that in two ways. There's where is it? Just a little bit further on. Right, the gift of awareness allows us to notice what is going on around and inside ourselves in the present moment without attachment or involvement. That's on page 19. And I think what he's saying is that you've got to allow that awareness. But once you start coming from awareness to studying it, you start to analyze it, and then it starts to fit in with your conceptual framework, which I think you have to do in order to then work with an idea. So I don't really know what I'm babbling on about, except it seems important.
I think it's incredibly important. And that's, we have so many ways of thinking and so many experiences that it's so difficult to remain in the noticing stage. Even when you jump to the observation stage. I think he talks about that there too. Yeah. That's already analyzing it. Yeah. And for me, meditation is one way, and meditation is something that I don't mean just sitting someplace, but meditating while drawing or walking, you know, walking slowly and just practicing being present and being an open vessel. Again, trusting that everything you experience, you'll be taking back into the studio with you. And it's important just like those ideas not acted upon, they'll go somewhere else. I think it's important to work with chunks of time. If you haven't, let's say you have only half an hour, maybe 15 minutes of that is done noticing, whether it's taking a walk out into the yard or listening to some music or cooking, but being really present, anything. And then the other 15 minutes, you make notes on that. Just jot down, whether they be words or whether they be lines or scribbles. Again, it's working through those stages so that you've captured a bit of it. And if you have a bigger chunk of time, you can work further, but at least it's there. Again, good thing for your sketchbooks to go back and to part of the practice of reawaken that noticing. And I think it's like anything else. It's working your muscles and keeping them flexible, reinforcing how that feels to be in that state of awe, where you're not thinking anything.
Awe.
Like if some fireworks go off and they're like some that you've never seen before. I mean, you're not even thinking, you're just like, the whole world has turned crystal. And there are no words for it. To expand those moments, I think, is what, even if they're temporary, to make note of them and to make note, to observe when observing starts happening.
Yeah, because it's that critical point, isn't it? When it stops just being a wow or an awesome experience in the true sense of the word, awe and wonder and all of that,
Right.
Which I think can almost, I think people have defined awe as something that you really can't describe. Almost, it's something beyond description.
So beyond words, beyond anything.
Yeah, beyond words. But it's that critical point when you move from that to analyzing and thinking and noting as ideas, as conceptual things,
and in this rush a day
which surely we're required to do. Surely in order to make some sort of visual statement, you actually do have to conceptualize.
Yes,
don't you?
Yes, but it's important to leave that gap of time.
Yeah.
Instead of just seeing something and sketching it right, expressing it right away. You go out, and I think, and I don't want to divert too much here, but that's why the whole plein air, which I love plein air, but that whole the trend now and the competitions, who can do the best plein air painting in an hour's time. Yes, if you're painting out there, the light changes, so it has to be quick, but that's not the point of it for me.
No.
And so immediately the artists, and especially if you're very masterful with your tools, you don't take any of that noticing time. You just jump immediately into observation and you produce a painting because you know how to do it. So you look, oh, okay, you may take a second to get a glimpse of it, of what you're doing, but you don't spend that time in that state of awe, because there is no time for that. If you're competing, if you're just going out yourself, you may end, there were a lot of times I'd go out to paint and I would end up just watching the clouds go by instead. as I'm pondering, as I'm looking at the colors or something in the clouds, and then I see more and more and more colors, sometimes I don't stop to paint them. I'm still absorbing them.
Mm.
And the weather may change, and I might not have painted at all. I might have done some sketches, or maybe I did. But as we get older, I think I hope we give ourselves more time for that, the depth and the richness of that experience. I mean, why do we paint anyway? It's manufacturing great paintings is wonderful, but that's not the creative process. But I think going back to that in this book, even if this book were only those 3 pages, it's well worth it. I mean, for me, it really rang a bell when he made the distinction between noticing and observing. And I think when it goes to contour drawing, because I've always used the word observing, contour drawing and any kind of drawing forces you to observe more carefully. I realize that it's when I'm observing and all of a sudden I see, let's say I'm drawing a car. I see a part of the car that I never saw before. And that is a noticing moment for me, because it's always like, I never knew that was there. What is that? So it's a surprise. And it's those surprises multiplied over and over again that make the work richer and clearer. The language, the way that you express to other people can be clearer because you've experienced it more. Does that make sense? It's so hard to talk about this stuff.
Yes.
And Suzanne, what do you think? I mean, I think clearly from what you sent me, the photos that you sent me, you certainly have experienced those moments of noticing.
Yes, well, I'm not a painter, and you asked me if I would like to make paintings. I never thought about making paintings. I just wanted to fill sketchbooks. But I like the contour drawing explanation that you gave now. That rang with me. That suddenly you see something you hadn't noticed before.
Right.
Yes.
And that's often when you do notice it, it becomes more of a focal point in the, you add it in because you saw it, and it's something that makes the drawing completely unique because it's kind of, a hidden gem that you discovered along the way. And I also think that what you brought up, Jill, that with these pages is where Barbara Rae is coming from with her work. I mean, her landscapes are rarely, they're not typical landscapes, and many of the landscapes don't look like landscapes at all. But they ring true with an experience that you have when you're in a landscape. When you're walking in the mountains, or you're in the Arctic. Now I'm going to go to was there anything else you wanted to say about that, Jill?
No.
Okay. So we're going to go to Barbara Rae. I pulled up in Wikipedia on Barbara Rae because I thought I had read somewhere, and maybe it was in the other book, why she went to the Arctic in the first place. And she went back 3 times, well, at least 3 times. And certainly each experience was very different. But I wasn't sure it seemed almost like she was on a bit of a tour, and then sometimes not. So I didn't find that in the Wikipedia. Do you remember reading that in the book?
I don't know. I don't remember. But I did wonder myself, it's quite extraordinary to go to the Antarctic 3 times, isn't it?
Yeah, especially in the
Yeah.
first one, didn't sound like it was that successful to her. She wanted to see a lot of wildlife, and she hardly ever saw wildlife throughout it. Okay, let me see if I can I had this ready to go.
Northwest Passage.
Well, what I did was, and I put in some of her other work, which I'll jump to first so that you can see the difference between this Arctic sketchbook and what she's known for. So, and remember that most of these in her mind are landscape. They're generally inspired by landscape. Rae has said of her approach to her subjects, I'm not interested in topographical detail. I need to be able to immerse myself in the culture of a place to create art. Okay, the other thing, this is just an aside. As a student, she worked as a grouse beater in Scottish Highlands. What is a grouse beater?
Okay, grouse is a bird, is a game bird, and people go out shooting. And so other people are employed to literally to beat the grassland, the heather or whatever, to make the birds fly up so the people can shoot them.
Okay. All right. Patricia and Martin told me about that on our walk one time. I knew I had heard that term before, but
yeah.
Okay.
Grouse is a small. They live much on the ground, and so when the people tends to be rich, aristocratic sort of people historically, with their guns, and they go out, and so people go and beat the ground so the birds fly up, poor things, and get shot.
Oh, sounds a little dangerous for the grouse beaters too, because what goes up goes down. So the bullets that go up come down.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I'm just going to flash through these pretty quickly. I think I can make this bigger.
So she goes through different countries, and she's right, she immerses herself in the culture. So when it's Arizona, for instance, it's full of the sort of imagery that you might expect.
She's now 79.
Yeah, still alive, still working. That's the back of the book. It's her work is absolutely full of color.
Oh, incredible. Just incredible. Even the ones that
Scotland, I think that one.
These are just so amazing.
Yeah. I did a lot of color maps. When you were setting challenges of taking an artist and doing the color maps, I did quite a lot of color maps of her work. Yeah.
So this is her sketchbook. This is where she went. The red line, you can see that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And
wow.
I thought Chris had asked me to send some pictures that I like, so I just snapped 6 pages. I could have snapped the whole book because I think it's all wonderful.
Oh, yes.
But I chose the 6 because they all sort of somehow meant something to me. And that one I took because I think it's showing her using a motif. So it's clearly a row of boats, isn't it? It's the front of several boats, and she does a few sketches of it. But she's using those shapes, isn't she?
Yeah.
As a motif, show the fact that it's boats, and it's an interesting pattern.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Yes.
Yeah, but I guess you could think it was something else, but no, really. What else could it be but a row of boats along in the sand or whatever? So that's why I took that one. And then if you've got my next one, have you? Or is okay, so I'm lucky enough that I have been in the Arctic Circle on a couple of occasions, and I've seen glaciers on a couple of occasions. Once in Alaska, we went and saw the Sawyer Glacier. And then when I was in New Zealand, we went on a rubber dinghy thing into Tasman Lake to the Tasman Glacier, and a bit broke off just as we were starting the outboard motor up. Huge sound, massive sound. What do they call it when I think it's calving, isn't it?
Yes.
When a
Yes.
piece breaks off from a glacier, and the chap driving the boat went zooming off. Apparently it's quite dangerous to do that, but anyway, went zooming off so that we got right to where this bit had broken off. It quite a small bit, but where it had broken off, you could see inside the glacier, and it was just remarkable. The color of the water, the color of the ice, and the whole thought that nobody had seen that for, thousands of years, let's say. So there's a bunch of these that reminded me of the times that I've been lucky enough to go up to a glacier. So there was that one, and maybe the next one, I'm not sure. No, that was just, I like the composition of that. It reminded me of the beach near where my caravan is, actually, which has a bit of a river that flows down to the sea. I know that's flowing towards mountains or whatever, but I just like the composition. The next one, I think, is more like a glacier.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the other one? The Athabasca Glacier and Fox Glacier. I've been to all of those, and I think glaciers are just fantastic, and it's so tragic that they're just melting, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're disappearing.
Yeah.
But that's very much like the Athabasca Glacier in Canada, or the Sawyer Glacier. And then the next one is polar bears, and I must tell you this, because when I was very small, are they polar bears? Yes. When I was very small, I had this lovely book that I absolutely loved, which was called Miscou the Lucky, and my eldest daughter has got it at the moment. And I used to spend hours and hours looking at it, and I liked it because on each page, on a double spread, on the one side, on the right-hand side, was a beautiful little watercolor painting of the creatures that this little Eskimo boy would be coming across. And I just loved the paintings. And of course, some of them were of polar bears. So I thought I needed to include that.
There we go.
Yeah, again, that is just like sailing up to a wall of ice, as we were when we went on the Tasman, up to the Tasman Glacier.
This one is a great example of the noticing, the sensation of the dark water. In her journaling in the book, she will describe the color of the water at times, and this just feels so much like an impression. It feels like a feeling to me.
Yes, it's not describing or analyzing. If we go back to what we were talking about before, it's not analyzing the scene in front of you or describing exactly what it was like. It is just the feeling of it, isn't it? The experience. Amazing.
And remember too that this is whereas the book that I started with, those were paintings that probably have hung in museums and things. Those are finished or resolved pieces, works of art, whereas all the things that we're looking at here are not meant to be that. It's in a sketchbook, so it may not be like the ultimate composition or any of those things. Those considerations intuitively are in there. But what I love about the freshness of the sketches in this book is that they don't feel at all as if they're as if she's analyzing what she's doing.
It's so much more touching than maybe a finished painting of a glacier. And
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a shorthand, her, developing her own, this one I adore.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
Again, it's just a shorthand for what it felt like.
Mhm.
Mm. When the sun doesn't set,
Oh.
yes. Yeah, so she's there. She was there in August, yeah. Mm.
And these being watercolor too, I love her edges, the variety of her edges, and where she uses line. It all merges together in such a supportive way, like an amazing chorus of singers that even though you may be able to hear one over another, still it's one unified harmony and sound that's coming out of it. And that's what I feel about with her work.
Mhm.
That one too really grabs me.
Yeah, yeah.
This one was unusual with the color.
Yeah. Go back to that last one, Chris, a minute. Is that an aerial view of something? Or
No,
is
they're
it?
graves.
Ah, it's a gravestone. Okay.
Yes, of explorers.
Yeah, okay.
In this one, I love the color in that.
Mm.
I have no idea what it is, and I don't care. It's just so yummy.
Mm. She's very brave, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yes.
No?
I mean, even there's not a lot of color in that, and yet it's so rich.
Yeah. It would have been so easy, though, to have gone on and put lots and lots more
Yeah.
detail and spoilt it.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Mm.
This was her last trip now. And
Oh.
this, or maybe this was the second trip. She uses line a lot more on this trip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's
that
boats
motif
again.
And the
again.
boats again.
Boats, yeah. I love that. I love that. Mm.
That's another gravestone.
Mm.
Look at the beautiful colors in her grays.
Yeah.
Oh. She uses very granulating colors.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And part of that might be the climate there and the saltiness. I kind of wondered because there's some textural things. It could be a combination of those things. I know when I've painted along the ocean, there, even in the air, there's a kind of a saltiness, and it
Oh,
definitely
yes.
affects the painting. Polar bears again. And it's nice looking at these because you realize where some abstract paintings that you've seen other places, how you can evolve from what you're looking at to a simple abstraction, especially with landscape. I mean, she's in an area that's very flat except the ice. And of course, she's using an incredibly limited palette. Okay, and then
That's from her other book.
That's the other book.
That's the other book. Well worth. It's one of my very favorite books.
Yeah.
Of all my books. I love it.
Okay, so anything more to say about Barbara Rae before we take a look at the sketchbook?
No, other than I think Barbara Rae is just brilliant.
Yeah. No, she's a great inspiration for being courageous.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a book of a watercolor artist who paints also a bit abstractly, but I can't find the book now.
Do you remember?
I like that very much, a bit more abstract.
Do you remember the name?
Yes, I think he's Swiss. Oh, I have his book here.
Okay.
Maybe I can show something. Here is a very beautiful one.
Yes.
Wow.
Very lovely. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Very dreamlike.
I would love to be able to paint like this. And here is the man. When was he born? 47. He was born in 47.
All right. Okay.
That's the artist.
Okay, so he's in our
76.
age.
I found the book by chance in a bookstore and I had to buy it. Oh, his portrait here.
Oh, yeah.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, another one.
Nice. I've never heard of him. I'm going to look him up too.
No, I hadn't heard of him either. It was a book, they were selling it very cheap.
Oh.
They have had leftovers.
Oh.
I think it's the only book about him.
Yeah, I like his simplicity.
Yeah, I like that too. The minimalism, I like that a lot. Okay.
All right. So,
oh wow.
What I did first is I turned it into a little movie. Here we go. I love these with the pattern on the side.
It's like a Celtic pattern.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
I love these.
They're absolutely superb.
That one might be my favorite. Then these are embroidered. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
machine embroidery.
On the machine, yeah, yeah. Sketching watercolor journal style. They're wonderful, aren't they?
Yes. These are gorgeous.
I love the buttons on the spine. Wow.
And these, I
Yeah.
adore. I mean, these are definitely, they're like full-fledged sketchbooks.
Yeah.
You know, with all little
And a bit like, what do you call it? Scrapbooking? You know? Building
yeah,
up layers of
Yeah.
meaning. Palimpsest.
palimpsest for sure.
Okay.
Okay, there you are. What happened? Oh, she froze again. There she is. That is such a tiny little book. Let's go back and you can tell us about these sketchbooks.
Yes, sketchbooks. Yes, yes. This is a Japanese step binding book. I like it because you can assemble pages. You do the pages first, and then you assemble the book. I always love if I have the opportunity to do this because I'm so scared to work in sketchbooks.
Oh,
But you lose a lot of on the left side. You lose all this. You have to make it a bit larger,
oh,
and it doesn't open flat. Yes, it's like an album, like a photo album. It doesn't open as nicely.
it is.
The fabric, I dyed it too. I
Nice.
used to dye lots of fabrics, but with chemical dyes, with Prussian MX dyes. I no longer do it. Yes. Yes, we went for our 30th wedding anniversary. We made a trip through the Scottish Highlands. Oh, it's one of my favorite places.
Right. So they are
I-
Celtic patterns on there. Right. Mm.
But I was in a drawing class by the time, drawing painting class, and I had help from the teacher because I think alone I would not have done it so nicely. It's all done with gouache.
Yeah, they're lovely sketches.
Yeah.
Mm.
This one, I love.
I
Talk
love
about the
it.
simplicity.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love it.
And they are made, the sketches are made.
Well, you froze again.
Yeah, it says that my internet connection is not good.
I love the choice of color in there too. That little, the pink that's up there.
Mhm.
Oh, Loch Ness.
The Loch Ness.
Mm.
Yeah.
These are stunning.
Yeah. So atmospheric.
It often rains in Scotland.
Mm. Mm.
Yes, that was our little bus, and that was our driver in the kilt,
In the kilt. Yeah.
Eric.
Yeah.
I wondered about that because he looked like he was kind of bald, but he had a skirt on. So
Yeah. Yes, that must be. Oh, I should have added the places. I can't find the name of the where we were there.
and this is lovely.
Ah, yes. Yes, that I unfortunately I don't remember the name of the lady who it was on Joggles. I was a subscriber to an American quilting arts magazine, and they had another magazine called Cloth Paper Scissors, and I subscribed to that one too. And there I saw an advertisement about Joggles, and they offered classes, but I think they no longer offer classes now. Yes, I like the third one is with mirrors.
Yes, that's like Indian mirror
Yeah,
glass.
yeah. Now,
Yeah. Lovely.
And I like the trees. Yes, and yes, we learned all kind of stitches, and the bullion knot on the second page. Yes, and we dyed the fabric too. It's on very heavy interfacing.
Wow.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and you fold it together. Yes, that was
Yeah.
a nice class. Yes.
And this is it. Is that it folded up?
Yes.
No,
Yeah,
that's the
a
next
different
one.
Yes, that's
right?
another one.
That's
one.
that one.
Another one.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
it's
love
that one. Yes. Yes, it was inspired by the background fabric. And below, I like to use leftovers. There are some leftovers from another. Well, that's the entire one.
Mm.
It's so much fun. And then this is it closed up.
Yeah, it's closed up. Yes.
Wow.
Free machine embroidery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are amazing.
Yes, that is fabric paper. It's paper collage to cotton fabric and some acrylics added and some stamps and.
Oh no, let's keep going while you're there.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Is it fine now?
Yes.
Yeah. So talk while it's good.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
So tell us about this book. It's
Yes, it's we made it in the class. In the inside, you can see this some sketches. Yeah, that's the inside.
okay. And you glued paper to fabric.
Yeah, it's called fabric paper.
Okay.
Yes, it's very stiff and sturdy. Yes.
Mm.
Yes, and this is was knitted. I knitted it, and it was wool that is made for felting. You put it in the washing machine when you are done, and afterwards it's only half the size.
Ah,
Yes.
right.
On the left side, you see some bags you see from garlic or onions. You have
Oh,
such, they are
yes.
wrapped into such a fillet. I don't
Yeah.
know how to call it. Yes, that's from it. And yeah, there are leftover snippets of fabric, and I collect everything, all kind of stuff. And
Good.
on the right side, it's from candy wrappers.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love those buttons. It's just great. So
yeah,
it's candy wrappers behind it.
yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
And the thread that's connecting them all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yes, yeah. I was cleaning stuff from my husband. There were school books from him, and I cut them down to make smaller books from them. And there you have also a pen holder, a nib holder. That is when he went to school.
Look at these buttonholes. I mean, the holes here.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic.
An incredible amount of work.
Yeah.
This button one is just so much fun.
Mm. Oh, I see the sweet wrappers now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sort of colored cellophane stuff.
Yes.
Oh, that's so creative.
And then the little tie on here.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
line joining them all. Yeah,
It's so great.
it's lovely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
There.
you're
We heard you there.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Okay, so what I wondered was, did you write these down, or you said they were school books? This is out of a school book?
Yes, I wrote them down.
Okay.
Yes, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes, that's from bobbin lace. Yes.
Oh, you made those. You made that lace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Wow.
was at the Quill Guild, and there was an English lady who showed us a bobbin lace.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then
You
I
are
wanted to
amazing.
give it a try too.
Mm.
Yes. That was in a class in Germany with a lady. We did one sample every month.
These are beautiful too.
I love the buttons on the spine. Mm.
Oh, I have lots of buttons.
You do.
Yes. Yes, this was done. Yes, these are leftover samples I made one day, and I like to use them up. So I
Yeah.
put them on the cover for this sketchbook.
Beautiful.
Now, you have different colored thread here.
Yes,
This was done on the machine, right?
yes, yes, yes. Everything is done on the machine. It's probably very, very variegated thread
Okay.
that changes color.
I don't know that I've ever seen variegated thread.
Oh, yes, there are some lovelies.
Mm.
Now this whole book is incredible.
Yes. Yes, that I learned the technique from Marianne Moss. Dispatch from LA is her website, and it's Canva and paper stitched to Canva.
Right. Mm.
Yes, these are all leftovers. I had bought some old magazines from the beginning of the 20th century on a flea market, and I put all kind of stuff, leftovers from paint, and this is on the right side. You have a photo from my mother and me. and an address from a friend of my parents who died long ago. Yes, it's all kind of stuff.
And a tea bag.
Probably only meaningful to me.
Yeah. I like that you left all the red threads just loose like
Yeah,
that.
I left everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This photo, I don't know, I got some photos from a friend. It's maybe her mother-in-law when she was a child. But
Mm.
I like the photos. She wanted to throw them away.
It's much nicer in a book like this.
Yeah. Sometimes, and these are my grandparents.
Wow.
In a book, there was a photo in a book about that village where they lived. It's from 1910. It's the only photo we have from them.
Wow.
Yeah. And behind is a letter my father wrote to his parents when he was in school.
This one? Oh,
No,
right
on the
here.
left side.
Yes.
It's Liebe Eltern. It says
Yes.
dear parents. Yes.
Wow. This makes me want to
Yes,
go and make one of these books. It's just
above on the left side, you have a plant. I have been hammering plants on fabric. Have you never tried this technique? The leaf.
It's
Yes.
like eco printing where you put the plant on the fabric.
Yeah. And you hammer, you hammer on it. Yes.
Right. Now you have to treat the fabric. Don't you have to treat the fabric?
Yeah, it has been. Yeah. With alone and I don't know the chemicals name in English. Yes.
Yeah, it's probably alum, like it's an
Yeah,
aluminum.
alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a.
I think we lost you again, Suzanne. Now, did she say that this is on canvas? Stitched on the canvas?
Yeah, I think that's what Suzanne said. It's marvelous, isn't it?
Yeah. Just I mean,
makes you want to go and do it.
Exactly. I've got a whole pile of things that I was going to put into cold wax, oil and cold wax and acrylic, but I may try something like this instead. This is just so inspiring, Suzanne.
So yeah, I am. Yes.
Incredible.
We're inspired. We're inspired.
Ah, okay. I collect so many things, and this was so nice to put them in a book.
And you did it so well.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm not sure.
Yes, no, it's beautiful.
That's our oven in the farmhouse, in the kitchen. It's in our kitchen. Yes, the photo from our kitchen.
And where did this one come from? Did you paint this or did that come?
Yes, I made it. Yes.
Nice.
On the left side, you see a part of our house, the windows.
This part.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's from our house. Yes.
And what is this with the lovely red dots on the right? Fabric?
Frankly, I don't really know now.
You just liked it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was your intuitive choice.
And there's my father on the right side, yes, when he was younger. That must have been in the 60s or early 70s, maybe.
Now, I saw the other half of this picture earlier. Was that? There we go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Very clever.
Yes.
And the line drawn around it.
Yes, and
Yeah.
there are my mother and me.
Here.
Mm.
We were on holidays in France on the Loire. Yes.
Oh, very lovely.
And up here, what is this?
Some feathers I had been drawing.
Nice. For someone who says they don't paint and draw, you do it extremely well.
Oh, I'm not sure. No. But I think 10 years ago I had more courage than today.
Well,
More courage and more energy. Yes.
I think that with a little attention to both, you can increase both of those.
Uh-huh. We'll see how it goes.
Yes.
Thank you
You're welcome. Yeah, these
for
are
the
so sweet.
lovely film.
Lovely.
Yes, that was a class I took in France, a calligraphy class. It was on Saturday mornings, and it was so nice. The people were so nice, because sometimes I like to go to classes because I meet nice people there.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
There were two stone who sculpted a stone man and a woman, and there was a newspaper reporter and a woman who worked with prisoners in the nearby prison, and it was a retreated school teacher who gave the class. Yes.
Nice.
Yes, but then I wrote to you, I stopped calligraphy because someday the class stopped. I don't know, the man was too ill, and well, it simply stopped. And I found out that I liked best a bit careless writing. I told you, like Louis Rossignol. Do you know Louis Rossignol?
I don't think so.
No. Maybe I find something from. I bought a book from him. Louis Rossignol, he has Tourette syndrome.
Oh,
Yes.
and his calligraphy? He's a calligrapher?
No, we had a class. I often took classes from Carla Zonheim. I don't know if you are familiar with her.
Uh-huh.
And she had a class with Louis Rossignol. You see, he writes like this.
Oh, yes.
That's more the kind that suits me well.
So you wrote all of these, though?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, I took some calligraphy classes, and I just couldn't bear doing the practice I had to.
Mm-hmm.
It was dreadfully boring. I wanted to be able to do sweeping strokes, but you have to work up to it, and I just didn't have the patience.
Yeah, that was the first one had to learn in this class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made stamps too. It's a stamp with my name. I have one with a leaf, and I have one with a symbol.
You have done a lot of things.
Oh yeah, stamp making, that's something I like too.
What did you make the stamps out of? Out of potatoes or rubber or wood?
No, you can buy material, soft material. You find it easily in art supply stores.
What is it called?
Oh, I have to look up. I'm not sure. I'll tell you later.
And then these are Jill's Christmas.
Listen, I just sent those to you just so that you could see what I was doing, not that you would be showing them.
Well, but
they are
I thought that they fit in really well with.
Well, yeah, and these look, I've got them. Can you see? Look, they are very small.
Yes, yeah. They are very beautiful, really beautiful.
Yes. It is so funny because the white is an old pillowcase.
Ah, yes.
And then these are just my bits of fabric,
Mm-hmm.
that I said last week that I had painted. And I've drawn, can you see underneath there?
Oh, yes, I
Oh.
see. Yes. Oh, yes.
Just with Posca
Oh,
pens and a pen,
yeah.
and then just attached it with a few little stitch.
Oh, yes. I like
Yeah,
that
it's
kind of
really,
stitching
really,
too.
really simple.
Oh, yes, that's the
I
kind
love
of
that one.
stuff I like best.
But every year I make cards in a different way. And I thought, well, I've got all these little bits. I'm like you,
Uh-huh.
Suzanne, and you, Chris. We don't
Yeah.
ever throw anything away. So,
Yeah.
tiny little things like this. So this is
Yeah.
all paper, that I've just cut off when I've been cutting down something to do. So
Uh-huh.
bits of paper
Mm-hmm.
and scraps, literally
Oh,
scraps.
it's so beautiful. Yes, that's the
Well,
kind of stuff I like best.
and this is what people will have. And I
Oh.
think, although this one was stuck onto a piece of card that opens, and usually I
Yes.
do that.
Yeah.
But to be quite honest with you, I think I'm just going to write on the back and just,
Yes, it's fine.
people can
Yes.
use it as a bookmark or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
But it literally is absolutely tiny.
Ah, yes.
That's that same pillowcase, and I
Ah,
was putting it down on some acrylic, and just
mm-hmm.
I had like a fork, and I just
Uh-huh.
pulled the fork like mono printing, and
Yeah.
this sort of juddering, but these lines,
Ah.
and it's becoming really useful because that
Oh,
I
yeah.
think looked like a little window with a light
Mm-hmm.
or
It's
something. So anyway,
truly beautiful. Very
well,
beautiful. Yes.
Well,
Oh,
I am
yes. I
excited.
like it.
I will be getting my sewing machine back, I think in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I finally found somebody who would repair it. It's a faff. And I am excited. I definitely think that I will attack my bag and boxes of scraps and try this. I've never done machine embroidery.
Mhm.
I think that I've stitched a little bit on paper, but I kind of vaguely remember doing it. But between the two of you, I am completely.
Right, Suzanne, with the book where you sewed with the red thread
Yeah.
on the machine, was that with the foot, with the ordinary foot and the feet
Yes, I
up?
think,
So you
well,
were just
when it
going in
went a
straight
bit
lines.
round, sometimes if I stitch the border, I take the simple foot, but I like to free motion stitch a lot.
Okay,
too.
so
Yeah.
most of it was free motion, right? Okay, but again, because it was on canvas, it was stiff enough that you didn't have to put it in a ring.
No, it's very stiff. Yes.
Stiff, yeah.
It's very stiff. Yes.
So you
that's
don't use a presser foot
Oh,
for that.
no, you just um, I can't explain in English.
You'll find something, Chris, on your machine that allows the teeth that are at the bottom, the bed.
Yes.
You drop
It's
them.
got little teeth, hasn't it, that move, where you can drop those so they're not making the fabric move along. And then you can take the ordinary presser foot off the machine, but actually now you can get a free motion foot that you put back on, which is safer. Because in the old days, when I used to just stretch fabric into a ring and take the foot off and then just sew, I mean, it potentially you could just machine your hand. I mean, I didn't ever, but now you can but it's a different sort of machine foot.
I might have that presser foot.
You see, it's very stiff. It's very stiff.
Yes, so you can just put it under, and you do the two sides, and then you put them together to form each page, and machine around the edge. Yeah.
Oh, you do the pages separately and then stitch
I would
them
have thought
together on the
so.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, signatures, yes.
And then you bind them together. So they're all separate pages, like the first book you showed us.
This one has two signatures. Two signatures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun. Another project, just what I need.
Just what you need.
Oh,
Oh my. Oh, well,
too many
Suzanne, thank you
projects and
so
not
much
enough
for sending
time.
those. That was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, thank you
Oh,
so much for
my
sharing.
pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you too.
You're welcome.
Gilles, I had a look at what you did there for the challenge.
Oh
I will
yes,
try
thank
the
you
challenge
for
too.
commenting. Thank you for
Oh,
commenting.
yes. I am sometimes so slow. I have so little time, and then I try to keep away from the computer. And I noticed only today that you had posted something.
Well,
but I find it really
thank you.
very well interpreted.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
like
know,
it a lot. I will
the
try
challenge,
too,
for
but
sure.
I'm not sure if I come up with a result.
So
well, I
did
didn't
see,
think I would. Yeah.
and Suzanne, I saw right before we started this that you had posted your dollars up there, and I was in the middle of a
Yeah.
comment. Lovely
Yes,
colors on the floral one. That
yes. But
anyway,
I
I'll
did the
make a
color
comment.
scheme game.
Yes, but they
Therefore,
really
it works.
fun dollars.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying doing those?
Yes, I am. But it takes time, and I need the time to do them. Huh? If I tell myself, no, I have to do one today, it never works.
No, I mean, dollars are great for when you get the urge. I think for any
Yeah.
of these things,
Mhm,
if it becomes a chore, then the joy is out of it. And I mean, you certainly have your creative juices flowing, so I wouldn't worry about it at all. When you're inspired to do it, you will, and when you're not, you'll be doing
Yes.
something else.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw those, Jill, but they're posted in the color scheme game or on the forum.
Yes, but I posted them just before we started our chat. I
Okay.
had no time. I wanted to post them yesterday evening, then I was too tired. And today I was busy all day. I posted them only half an hour before our
Okay.
chat.
That's
Yeah.
why it came up, and I wasn't sure because it came
Yeah.
up on my phone, and I don't usually use my phone for the community.
Mhm.
But those are fun. You may want to check those out, Jill.
I will. Yeah.
I continue.
What's that?
Lovely.
I will continue doing Dallas.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, and I found an old one I had done in 21. You posted a video of an apple dollar. I tried that apple dollar.
An apple dollar.
That must have been on YouTube.
Maybe. I don't remember doing an apple one, but
in your sleep.
or
You did that in
tomato.
your sleep.
Right.
Yes. That
Well, I was
got
pulling up.
inspired. Yes. You will, when you see the apple dollar, you will remember.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes.
There are a lot of sketches I don't recall.
I added a worm who looks a bit off.
A worm in the apple.
Yes.
Oh,
That way you know it tastes good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.